The first reading is from Genesis, chapter 1, beginning to read at verse 1. In the beginning, when God created the universe, the earth was formless and desolate. The raging ocean that covered everything was engulfed in total darkness, and the Spirit of God was moving over the water. Then God commanded, "Let there be light," and light appeared. God was pleased with what he saw. Then God commanded, "Let the water be filled with many kinds of living beings, and let the air be filled with birds." Then God commanded, "Let the earth produce all kinds of animal life, domestic and wild, large and small." And it was done. So God made them all, and he was pleased with what he saw. Then God said, "And now we will make human beings. They will be like us and resemble us." So God created human beings, making them to be like himself. He created them, male and female, blessed them and said, "Have many children, so that your descendants will live all over the earth and bring it under their control. I am putting you in charge of the fish, the birds, and all the wild animals." This is the word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
Revelation chapter 21, starting at verse 1. "And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. And I, John, saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, 'Behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and God himself shall be with them and be their God. And God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes. And there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away.' And he that sat upon the throne said, 'Behold, I make all things new.' And he said unto me, 'Write, for these words are true and faithful.' And he said unto me, 'It is done. I am the Alpha and Omega, and the beginning and the end.'" This is the word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
Let us pray. Lord, please open our ears, our eyes, our hearts and our minds, that we may understand your word, and in so doing act upon it. Amen.
Amen.
Right, I'm not actually going to be talking just about eco-church, but that's part of it. But I just want to talk about the environment, and this is more of a talk than a sermon. It's obviously biblically based, but I want to be a bit more practical about things, really. I want to sort of just paint the picture of where we are and then what we can do about it. So, what do we think are the major threats to the world at the moment?
Pollution?
Pollution, yeah, good. That's a good one. Population, indeed. That's another one. War, yeah. Chemicals. I thought someone might just say global warming or something like that, but again, that is part of it. But it's not just global warming, and these other things which you've mentioned, a lot of those are to do with the environment. I've just got a note of some of them which is slightly more extensive than the ones you mentioned there. We've done pollution, global warming. Fred said overpopulation, huge problems. Waste disposal, that is causing problems. The ocean's acidification, the coral reefs are getting wiped out terribly, and loss of biodiversity. Where are all the bees gone? Dorothy, you were mentioning this earlier, weren't you?
Yeah.
They just aren't so many bees this year. I don't know if anyone else has noticed that. We've got a buddleia at home. And the thing about buddleias, had one when I grew up, whatever, butterfly tree. Haven't seen one butterfly on that buddleia so far this summer.
I've seen one bee on mine.
It's a concern, and with the biodiversity, everything's interconnected. And if we lose one species or anything like that, then who knows what the domino effect's going to be. So we need to strive to save everything really, from the insects upwards. You know, if we lost the pollinators, then where are we going to be? So we need to think very widely about this. Deforestation, yeah, Amazon rainforest, you know, the lungs of the world, that's going. Borneo as well, they're planting all those palm trees, aren't they? It's a real concern. And the ozone layer depletion, again, that's all part of it as well. So there's a whole lot of things here. And it's all part of the environment, really. Okay, wars are not part of the environment, but you know what I mean. But I just want to focus on those, really. And I think this sort of global warming, if we call that the overarching thing on there, that's an existential threat to the world. And it's one we can't hide from. We can't hide from it at all. But we need to set the context on this. In 2020, the average temperature of the world was 1.1 degrees more than it was in 1900, which doesn't sound a lot, but actually it is. But more importantly, it's how it's trending. There have been various agreements made, and I think the world realises that we don't want it to go more than 1.5 degrees more. If we can manage to keep it at less than 1.5 degrees, then everything should be okay-ish. I say that a bit like that. But it looks like we're not going to do that. Which is the real worrying thing. And if we do nothing now, by 2050, it would have doubled. It's 1.1 now, it will be 2.2 then, and that makes a huge difference. And by the end of the century, it will be a horrific 4 degrees more. Imagine what that's going to be like. You know, it will be catastrophic. We heard Matthew read about in Revelation chapter 21, well, about the previous 20 chapters, a bit more apocalyptic, the vision of what the world might be, and it really is quite frightening. And actually, if you read that and read about global warming, perhaps the Bible is predicting this is going to happen. So if we do nothing, it's going to be absolutely frightening. In Colston Bassett, we're actually shielded from the effects of global warming, and it's happening now. This is not something which is happening in 20 years' time. It's happening now, and we're shielded from it because we live in a prosperous country with an equitable climate. But nevertheless, it does affect us. You know, we moan about the floods outside the church, don't we? That's down to global warming, isn't it? They're doing that. And then we moan when we've got to go and water the plants in the summer because we're not getting any rain. And that's it. That for us is global warming. Not too bad, is it really, for us? But other parts of the world, it is catastrophic. In India, they have average temperatures of over 40 degrees, you know, week after week after week. And even now, about 20 million people a year have to move due to the effects of global warming. And it's not something you can just turn a switch on and it goes off. I'm afraid it doesn't quite work like that. And so the rest of the world, you know, we suffer a little bit here, but they do have droughts, they do have floods, they do have famines. It really is serious what is happening out there. And of course, with the heating, that we get the glaciers melting and the ice caps are melting, which means that the sea level rises. And since 1880, long time ago, up till 2020, average, it does vary a bit, the sea has risen by 6 inches. Doesn't sound a lot though, does it, 6 inches? But it is, it's very significant. And if we do nothing again, by the year, by 2050, it will be a foot, so it will double. So it's taken 140 years to do 6 inches. It will take another 25 years to do the next 6 inches. And if by the end of the century again, it will be 3 foot. Over 3 foot. How many people live within a a metre or less above sea level, 150 million. 150 million. It had devastating effects. Osaka in Japan, gone. Miami, that's a very low-lying one. It is a huge issue and a huge threat. And of course, if it's unchecked, it'll lead to mass migration again. We think we're suffering at the moment with migration, but you just wait till that really happens. It will be catastrophic. But, okay, so I painted the picture. It's bleak. But what can we do about it? Well, plenty, actually. We can do this by changing our lifestyle, getting into some good habits, and also by influencing people as well. So we can do things ourselves, but we can influence other people to do things. That is just as important. And that's what we need to be looking at, really. And everything is carbon footprint. And the carbon footprint for the average person in the UK, anyone know what it is? Any idea? No, I've looked it up, obviously. It's 13 tonnes of carbon dioxide. That is the unit. I don't quite know how they do it, but that is the unit that we do. And everything that we do, just about, creates a carbon footprint. Everything from having a shower, to buying and running a new car, and even to eating a banana, it does have a carbon footprint. Now, I've got a book here, and you have seen this once before, certainly, and this is a great book, and it's called How Bad Are Bananas? Okay. I'll mention this a bit more at the end, and this book's ever so good. It tells you an awful lot of stuff, but I'll mention a bit more at the end. If you want to know the answer to the question, how bad are bananas, it all depends. If they come over in a boat from St. Lucia, they're not bad at all, especially as they come in their own packaging as well. But if they get sort of put on a plane over here, they are terrible things. But this is something we need to start thinking about, and that's what we need to do. And there are four things, really, four sectors, which I want to briefly talk about, which generates carbon dioxide or carbon footprint. There's food, there's travel, there's households and homes, and then everything else. And each of those contributes about 25% of the carbon footprint for us, the country, the world. So that's what it is. So there are four there, each is 25%. Let's just sort of pick up on the food. According to this book, and we've got loads at the back, if you do a certain number of things, you can probably halve your carbon footprint on food, which sounds good. It's something we ought to look at. The first one is meat. Eating meat it generates a lot of carbon footprint. The worst ones are beef and lamb. But we like beef and lamb, don't we? We like beef and lamb. But we can do something about this, really, because a bit like bananas, not every bit of beef is the same carbon footprint as another bit of beef. If it's the beef is something which has been imported from abroad, and the beasts are kept inside and they're fed inside, whatever, the carbon footprint of that is horrific. But if you get some beef from a hill farm where it's all just grazing outside and it's not really good land they're on, it's much less than that. So which is what we've got to start thinking about. If we like things like that, we need to find out where our meat is coming from. So perhaps we ought to go on to and speak to Gary Jarrett and say, Gary, where does yours come from? Because we want it to come from a Welsh mountain, really, because that would be really good. And this is the sort of thing we need to do. And anyone go to Greggs at all? I go to Greggs. Okay, we go there. They do vegan sausages. Why do they do that? Because people kept saying, we want vegan sausages, because they didn't want to have meat sausages for various reasons. And so they produced it. And it's a big thing there. So retailers will react to what people ask for. So that's just one thing I want to mention to you there. Next thing is waste. Waste. How much food do we chuck away? Far too much. And it's about 20%. So what we need to do, We need to start thinking, yes, let's have a meal of leftovers. And who doesn't like bobble and squeak? Bubble and squeak Mondays, we virtually always have that. Get rid of the old meat, get rid of the vegetables, have it like that. That's what we need to do. And before you go shopping, look in the fridge and see what you've got. But an awful lot is sent away. Also, you go into Waitrose and you see lots of exotic fruits and vegetables and this, that and the other, and they come from all over the world. Anything which has been air freighted in, we shouldn't be doing it. We really shouldn't. And if everybody just left all this air freighted stuff on the shelves at Waitrose, they'd stop bringing it in. So our actions will determine what these retailers do. Now, we can't just do it all ourselves, but if everyone did this, it would make a huge impact. And certain things are happening, as at Greg's. And also packaging. Packaging. We shouldn't be doing packaging. If you can, just get all the loose stuff, whatever, bring your own bags, whatever. All small things, but it's all itemised in here. But interesting. Right, we'll move on to travel now. Okay, who walked here today? Oh, I didn't know. Okay, which is great. That's good. Anyone cycle? That's the next best thing. Okay. The next best thing after cycling is an electric cycle. Okay, there is some carbon there, but not so much. Whatever. Then we have electric car. Well done, Matthew. Yes, good. Well done, Liz. Or a hybrid car. Or if you've really got to have a diesel petrol car, perhaps a more economical one, a smaller one. An awful lot of carbon footprint is generated by cars, and it's something which we need to think about. And also, if you're a two-car family, you need to replace one, why not get an electric one or something like that? These sort of things make a big difference. There are all sorts of things in this book which makes a little difference. Cars is a big thing, so that's just something to think about, really. Now here's a big one on travel. Air travel. Yes, it's nice to go to exotic places or just over in the continent, everything else like that. Air travel is terrible for carbon footprint. Let's just take an example, and this is a big example really. A return flight from London to Hong Kong. Okay, long haul, it's expensive and everything else like that. If you go in economy, it's 3.5 tons. If you go in premium economy, it's 4.5 tons. Business class is 10 tons. First class is 13 tons. So say you were to go to London, Hong Kong and back again first class, that is 13 tons. That's your whole allocation for the year gone. Okay, one or two things to think about. This is that, okay, we like going abroad, whatever, but then perhaps don't go quite so far. You know, going to Europe's a lot better than going all the way to Hong Kong or the Indian Ocean or all the nice places like that. That's something to do. Or if you're really going to go, why not do some carbon offset? That's all in this book, carbon offset. It might relieve your conscience a little bit to think, okay, I'm going on this nice holiday, but we'll do some carbon offset where trees will be planted, all this, that and the other. It will make the holiday more expensive, but actually you're really paying the full cost of what you're doing, really. You are paying for the carbon which you are generating. So that's just something else to think about on there. I'm just going to touch on a few things as I go along here, really. Household homes. Okay, this is a big thing. Insulation, we think we all know about insulation, don't we? I like to think that most places have thick insulation there. Double glazing, that sort of thing. We've actually replaced a lot of our glazing over the last few years. And also old windows aren't quite so good as new windows, really. So it's made a big difference from our point of view, so do that. Solar panels. Anybody got solar panels? Yes. We got them last year, and they don't look too bad these days actually. We've got them, and at this time of the year we virtually use no electricity from the grid at all, which is great, and they don't look too bad. We think it's going to save us, after a year we'll know exactly what it has saved us, but we think it will save us probably perhaps £3,000, perhaps £4,000 a year. So not only are we helping to save the world, we're saving money. Well, that has to be a good thing, doesn't it? That has to be a good thing. And we think it might pay for itself within about 4 or 5 years. So that is a great thing to do if you can. It's just something to think about. It makes a difference. Right, cooking though. Who's got an Arga? Arga's not good. I won't say any more than that, but you've got solar panels though, so that's okay. But again, you've just got to think differently these days about what you are doing and everything else. And then we've got everything else, which is all lumped together, and this is like buying clothes and furniture and just all sorts of things like that. And really what you need to do is repair, recycle, reuse and reduce. You know, we consume an awful lot of stuff. Do we need to do everything that do we need to consume everything that we are doing on there? Like with clothes, clothes, if you keep changing your wardrobe every 5 minutes, whatever, that is terrible. What you ought to do is buy a good jacket or something and wear it for years and years and put patches on the shoulders and on the elbows. That is really very, very green. And buy second-hand clothes, that's great. That is really ever so good. And also, if you look at your wardrobe, every now and then, just look at, see what you're not wearing anymore. Go down, give it to a charity shop. That's recycling. That's a good thing to do. Really good thing to do. So these are just things which we need to think about. And then that's what you can do personally. But the other thing which I mentioned is influencing others. I've touched on this, but this is really rather important. Contact your MP. Okay, think about that one. It's probably changed recently, the MPs, what they have here, hasn't it? But, MPs, they like to be re-elected, and if enough people go on about it, they will change their tune, and they are important people to do. How many of you get emails which says, can you sign this petition? Whatever. Oh, I get loads of those. I do actually sign quite a few of them. I think they're worthy. Environmental ones do it. The more people who do, it will change people's thoughts, and we just need to change the whole culture really to do that. And again, I mentioned retailers. If we start asking questions of supermarkets, where does it come from, and they don't give you satisfactory answers, whatever, then they'll come on to that. You might have to pay more for it. And getting your lamb and your beef from Wales, whatever, it will be more expensive than getting it from other places. But again, you are paying the proper price for it then. And if you buy it, then retailers will do it. So we just need to change this whole culture thing really. And we do need to take action. We do need to take action. Why do we? Well, God told us to. As we heard in Genesis today, God put us in charge of this world, whatever. We need to be good stewards of it, and we're not at all. The world, we're just using it up. We're just consuming it. We're taking all the oil, we're cutting down the trees, we're doing lots of terrible things. We need to do a certain amount of that. But we really do need to do this, and we need to try and influence people to change their minds of what they're doing at the moment. As I said earlier, that the first 20 chapters of Revelation is really quite dire. We won't go into that now, but from 21 onwards, one of my favourite chapters in the whole Bible is chapter 21 of Revelation, because we've got the New Jerusalem, the new world. So ultimately, everything's going to be okay, actually. Everything will be okay. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't take care of the environment now, whatever. And we can take a great heart from that. But what's it all going to look like then, in this new world which God creates, whatever? Well, it'll be fantastic. There'll be no death, no pain, or anything like that. There'll be no floods, there'll be no disasters. We can't comprehend just how wonderful it's going to be. But a few of us went on a retreat on Tuesday, and there's some very interesting things in there. And if you went on the retreat, it's a great time where you can just think and pray and be stimulated by things. And there was one bit in there which was from C.S. Lewis, and it was called The Final Battle, was it, the thing there? And there was a great quote in there which I'd not seen before. And because C.S. Lewis was a great author, he did all the Narnia ones, whatever, big Christian, wrote loads of books about it. And the Narnia thing's an allegory, we won't go into all that detail now. But I want to just read one bit which was part of this retreat, which really, I just saw things slightly differently, and I'm just going to read it from here. So this is Aslan. So this is Aslan the lion speaking. And as he spoke, he no longer looked to them like a lion, but the things that began to happen after that were so great and beautiful that I cannot write about them. And for us, this is the end of all the stories, and we can most truly say that they all lived happily ever after. But for them, it was only the beginning of the real story. All their life in this world and all their adventures in Narnia had only been the cover and the title page. Now, at last, they were beginning chapter 1 of the great story, which no one on earth has ever read, which goes on forever, in which every chapter is better than the one before. So in Revelation, we're talking about the new world, whatever, the new Jerusalem. That's what C.S. Lewis thought it was going to be like. And I just like the imagery of that no one's read this book before, and the start of it is only when we go to heaven, whatever. But I like that, it is that each chapter will just get better and better. It's just C.S. Lewis thinking about it, but I quite like that, which was really good. Right, now comes the cell. There isn't a cell actually at all. You all should have got some sheets there. Have a look at those. This is something which people in Church of Bramcote did, and it's just a useful crib sheet for you to take away and look at and just see what you can do. There is something in there, a page where you can actually work out your carbon footprint, which might be a bit frightening, whatever, but that's really quite useful, so do take that away with you. This book here, How Bad Are Bananas? I've bought various books, this is the best one. And it's not one you want to read from cover to cover, because the vast majority of it is telling you, and it's actually done really in a very nice way. We all heard of Bill Bryson, American author. He says of this book, terrific. I can't remember the last time I read a book that was more fascinating and useful and enjoyable all at the same time. So it's quite a good read as well. But I would urge you just to delve in and out of it. It's a very good reference book, but look at the bits there which tells you what you can do. So don't sort of read the whole thing in one go. We can do if you like to. But at the back, there are 12 copies there, and take one. They're all free. Free, take one. In the past I've said, take it, read it, put it back here. No, you want to have this at home so you can look at it. It's a reference book as well, so you can work out exactly where you can make savings. So do take those at the end and read them and talk to other people about it. It's all about changing the culture of this country, and the longest journey in the world starts with one small step, so please do take one of those. Thank you.